AITA for leaving my parents' house after they invited my ex to Thanksgiving? I live about 4 hours away from my parents, so I don't see them that often. Quite frankly, I don't mind being away from them for tons of reasons that are a little too personal for me to share. Driving all the way there was already exhausting, so I just wanted to settle in and get ready for dinner. First thing that happens was I recognized a car that I hadn't seen in a while, 2 months. It was my ex's car, parked right there in the driveway next to my mother's car. A little backstory. My ex and I broke up when I found out he cheated on me with 2 of my close friends for a good portion of our relationship, 2 out of the 4 years. I moved taking all of my things and my cat. Just left without a word to anyone. You have to understand I was completely devastated and I thought he was the one. Anyways, I pull up and see his car. Knowing that he was inside, I went anyways to see my parents. When I go inside, I call for my mother, trying to limit the amount of times I see my ex. My mother comes immediately and gives me a hug. I ask her if she could step outside to talk. Wrong choice. I ask her why my ex is here and she responds with, "I invited him. His parents are out of town and he didn't have a place to go for dinner." Completely blown away that she did that, since she knew the reason behind why we broke it off. Stunned, I ask her to make me a plate and that I was just going to stay at a hotel. She flips out and looks at me dumbfounded. Meanwhile, my ex just happens to smoke a cigarette. Just my mother finally agrees to make a to-go container. He outside now staring at me and not saying anything, which I was grateful for until he started to talk. He keeps saying sorry and that he was lost without me, all the bullshit cheaters say after they have been caught. My mom and dad step out with my food, so I am just ready to go. My dad stops me and tells me I am being childish for leaving and not facing up to my ex since he clearly wants forgiveness. I got so mad and yelled at all of them. I didn't even want to come. I knew some shit like this would happen, that's why I am leaving. You didn't need to invite him, but you did even after all of the betrayal he put me though. On the brink of tears, my dad calls me an asshole and I run to my car, dropping my food after stumbling down the front steps. I called some friends and they said that I should have stayed for the sake of my parents, since I was definitely being an asshole. Everyone in this situation is an asshole except for you. I am so sorry that happened. You made the right choice in leaving. I knew if I stayed it would just be awkward and painful. Sit though. NTA. I am so sorry that happened to you. I have to ask, what planet are you on? This is the most outrageous thing I've read on AITA today. Given the circumstance of your breakup, what your parents did was just outright cruel. Why are your friends taking the side of your parents? None of this makes any sense. Is there more to this story? I really don't have words. NTA, nothing described here is even close to you being an asshole. Everyone else is. Everyone I talked with made it seem like since it was their house and they were hosting, I should have held it together, toughed it out. It's beyond me why some people, in this case, the parents, have that kind of a need to please others but not their own family. Come on, the guy cheated. Even if he did something less bad, but the daughter was still hurt by him, that would be enough reason not to invite him. Also, why didn't they mention it? Did they expect the couple to get back together? They should really sort out their priorities. One of the only friends that I truly trust said that my parents may have had a point in their relationship where one of them cheated and that's why my dad thought I was being childish. If it's the case, it's good that it somehow worked for your parents, but for me it sounds like your dad is still trying to justify his or your mom's behavior from the past. By pushing the "you're being childish" for not forgiving and probably moving on together with the guy. I don't know if it makes sense. It's weird that some of your friends also agreed with the parents. If everyone knows how this guy hurt you, why on earth are they not a little bit more supportive? It wasn't even a one-time thing, as you told in the original message. He was constantly cheating on you. My parents are the only people I told, along with a friend that I trust dearly who also agrees with what everyone is saying right now. It definitely would not surprise me if my parents had told anyone. AITA for skipping my brother's bachelor party because my sister wasn't invited to the bride's bachelorette party? 26M, am the best man for my brother Brian's, 31M, wedding and was invited on his bachelor trip to New Orleans. It was all being planned by his friends and I was part of the group planning the itinerary. We had Zoom calls, meetups, etc. I had every intention to go and to support my brother. His fiancée Ella, 29F, then planned her bachelorette party. Prior to sending out invitations, Ella called me for advice about her trip. Ella said she knew this will upset my family. My family is very close, but my sister will not be invited as she is going with her friends and not a family trip. I was kind of shocked because my sister was a bridesmaid for the wedding, so how can you not invite her? My mom did pressure Ella to make my sister a bridesmaid because she always wanted to be a one and has no sisters. Honestly, many people dislike my sister, so that's why my mom will make sure she's always included in plans. Ella went on to explain how she regrets allowing my mom to guilt and bully her into making my sister a bridesmaid, but she can still make her trip right by inviting her closest friends. I was floored. How incredibly rude to do to the family you're marrying into. Ella also explained since their wedding is non-traditional, titles, roles, etc. did not matter. She kept defending her right to invite who she wants to her trip and said she didn't invite her own sister because they also do not have a close relationship. I still felt like my sister should be going because she has known her for 8 years. Ella even said my sister would ruin her trip based off past experiences, which I will admit she has ruined a few nights out with her drinking. But she is family. I decided to tell my parents what happened. My mother was devastated and began crying that her daughter wasn't invited. This into a lengthy fight with my family towards my brother because they wanted to convince him to change Ella's mind. She was pretty fucking set on her decision. So I dropped out of his trip. I told Brian I obviously can't go on his trip since our sister is clearly being left out. If I go and she doesn't, it would absolutely devastate my family. I could not have long-term resent with my family, so I chose to skip it and protect my family. I am writing now because the bachelor trip was months ago, but my relationship with my brother and Ella has not recovered. We used to hang out on weekends, but clearly we don't speak anymore. Ella apparently feels I betrayed her trust by telling my parents about our phone call. She has been distant ever since this happened. I was just doing right by my family. I had no issues with her but did not agree with my sister being left out. My family is perfectly fine that I skipped the trip and I was able to support my sister. During the wedding, my mom even tried to talk to Ella about this and asked she let everything go, but I don't know what happened with that. Anyway, am I the asshole for defending my family? YTA. Your family are overbearing bullies who have to get your way or you scream and cry. And your actions and behavior has caused Brian and Ella to distance themselves from you. And it's all your fault. YTA. The groom is your brother. The bride is not your sister and not your sister's close personal friend. That's why you were invited and she wasn't. It's not an insult, it's just that these parties are for people who are really close and your sister obviously wasn't really close to the bride. Then you ran to your mommy and told on them. Come on. You're in your 20s. WTF is with all these Oz getting their mommies to back them up? YTA, as is your mother. Obviously you don't need to attend. But you are the best man, and your reason for not attending is pretty shitty. The only reason your sister is a bridesmaid, I'm assuming that's what she is because, as you stated, your mother pressured her into it. It's clear. Ella doesn't really want her there as one. Can you not understand the problem? This sounds like a recurring theme. People don't like your sister, and your mom tries to force them to include her in things, which is just going to make people like her less. Your family, mom in particular, sounds toxic. Expect that Brian and Ella will likely go LC with you all in the future. This is just wrong on so many levels. YTA. Your whole family is ta. It was her wedding and you guys tried to force her to spend her bak with someone she didn't want to. It's fine that you didn't go to your brother's bak, but everything else you did was terrible. My guess is that you and your family have won a lifetime of LC from your bro and his wife.